Another thing I need to do, I was thinking about how all this is going to go together, and I forgot to put an entry point for the tambour itself. I don't want to encapsulate it or capture it inside the top and bottom. So I took the original template I had, just made a few changes, and I'm just going to carpet tape this on and just made some marks. I just need to make a groove going like this so I can put the timbres in from the back. I'm just going to do this real quick. Well, here's all the pieces that I've been working on milling for the hutch on top of the desk. So what I've got to figure out, or I should say I have figured out, is how I'm going to attach and do the joinery between these two on these shelves, or on these dividers. Thought of a couple different things, and actually I'm going to go a little old school and use something I don't use that often, but for something like this it's perfect. I'm going to use dowels. It's going to give me the ability to assemble the two halves, pretty much put the dowel centers in, press it down, and then I can find out exactly where I need to drill the holes for the dowels on this. So let me show you how I'm going to do that on these pieces. I've got my doweling jig set up to cut the holes, and as you can see, with white pencil I put 3 lines down the side of the board that I'm going to put the holes in. And these are 1 inch from the ends and then in the center of those. Now this is the doweling jig. It's a very simple machine, very inexpensive too. I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a white line on the inside of this. I've also marked the hole that I'm going to drill with blue tape because I get confused sometimes. I actually use the wrong holes. So this just goes down on here. I line up that with this, and then I've got a drill bit with a stop collar on it. I just need to plunge down into there and create those holes. Okay, here's what I got going on. I've temporarily clamped this piece together, and this is one side of the inner part of the hutch. As you can see, I've got the holes drilled for the dowels. On the back here, I've got a known distance from the back that I need to be, which in this case is 1 1/4 inches, and I need to be 2 inches from this side. Now I've checked all these, they're perfectly square. I made sure that this, after I temporarily clamped it, was going to be perfectly square, and it is. So what I need to do first is put these dowel centers in. And all this is a little plug that fits in the dowel hole with a point on the end. So I can just pop these in here. So after I've got the dowel pins seated, the dowel centers seated, what I need to do is flip this over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reference off of this piece here and this piece on the back. Just drop those in. Making sure I'm flush with those all the way around. I'm just going to take a mallet and that should mark where I need to drill the mating holes for the other dowels. Now just to make them a little bit more obvious, I'm just going to mark them in with a Sharpie so I can see them a little bit better. There you go. I've got all the holes laid out. I've got a 3/8 inch bit in my drill press, and I'm going to use my lasers. Actually, this is going to come in pretty handy for that. I've got the depth set correctly, so all I need to do is just drill some holes. Well, I've got the pieces in here with the dowels, and it came out very well. It went together pretty easy. So I've got to do the same thing for the top piece. Now this one's got to be a little different. Unfortunately, I don't have enough dowel centers to go all the way around this. So I've clamped those 2 guide pieces, again, or 2 reference pieces. I just need to spin this around, line everything up again, make sure it's tight to the back, tight to this fence. Give it a couple of whacks. Alright, so now I just need to move those dowel pins over and repeat it on this side. Well, here's the piece all dry fit together. It came together very easily. The dowels are going to be very strong for this piece. I did make a mistake. I don't know if you can see it. Do I need to zoom in? See that hole right there? The depth stop collar on my drill bit, or on my drill press gave, and I drilled through there. Completely irrelevant. This, as I mentioned before, is a sub top. And there'll be another piece that covers the top of this, so it really doesn't matter. Now on the back here, I need to do one more milling operation. On the bottom, on the top, and on the sides, there needs to be a dado in here, or a rabbet I should say. And that's going to be able to give me the ability to put a back or inset a back into the piece. It's going to be a 1/2 inch thick, so probably going to go down maybe a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch in, and there'll be a back that goes on here. Now there's going to be another back that goes behind this, and that's to cover all this up in there, and also to keep so you can't see the slide from the front when it's coming in. I'm going to start the glue up on this, and first I'm going to glue up the interior cabinets. Now it's real important on here that I don't want a lot of squeeze because I don't have to clean that out. But I only want to put glue in the front of these dividers, and I want to make sure that if there is any expansion and contraction, it'll go towards the back. And I have made the widths on those a little bit thinner in the back so that if they do expand towards the back, they won't blow out the back of the cabinet once I put that on there. So this glue is just to hold those shelves in. I'm also going to put a couple of light duty clamps on here right across these joints, and that'll be enough to keep it in check until the glue dries, or at least sets up. And make sure I don't bend them out of shape. Once I have those there, I make sure all my joints are nice and tight. Check to make sure everything is square. There we go. So that's nice and square. The center divider is nice and square. So I'm just going to let this set up for about 40 minutes, a half hour or so, and do the other one. Well, I've given these sub-assemblies some time to dry, and I'm going to start off. I'm actually going to glue up the sub-assemblies to the top first. And what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of glue in the dowel holes. Glue on here. Even though this is end grain, I'll still be able to get some adhesion out of it. One side here is going to need a little persuasion. I'm going to give those just enough pressure to close those joints. Don't want to take it out of square. I've checked this for square, and it is nice and square. I'm going to let this cook in the clamps for about 20 minutes or so, take them off, and then put the other side on, and then put the top on. All right, let's see if I can get this up on here. Well, it took some coaxing with some clamps, but I finally got it clamped up. It's very straight, it's very square, and after this dries, I'm going to let this dry for probably a couple, 3 hours, and then I need to put the side pieces on it. Well, here's the upper hutch fully assembled now, and I just need to start making the tambour doors.